Good morning, everybody. My name is Alex. I am Vizcaya's social media person, and I'm here with David Hardy, our horticulture manager, for our first ever Ask Me Anything. This is the garden edition. So we're going to be answering some questions that you all have submitted throughout the past week and a half or so. I'm going to also let David introduce himself here real quick.
Hi, so I'm David Hardy. I'm the Horticulture Manager here at Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. And I just wanted to welcome you all to today's first Q&A, Ask Me Anything. It's a program we hope to bring you on a regular weekly basis. So please spread the word, ask any questions you like about horticulture, gardening, our native environment, our collections, the museum, any questions you like, and spread the word so we can have a nice discussion every Friday.
Perfect. So we are going to get started with, like I said, some of the questions that you guys have already submitted on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we have about a dozen of them or so to get through. But if you have any other questions, please do go ahead and put them in the comments. And if we have time, we do hope to answer them today. If not, we will answer them next week. So first question, this comes from, I hope I'm saying this right, Shop Urban on Instagram, and they ask, which plants need more maintenance in the gardens?
So in my opinion, really, no plant needs more maintenance than any other. There is a mantra in the plant world that says the right plant in the right place. And that really means that you should choose a plant. When choosing a plant, you should choose the location carefully. Think about what that plant needs. And if you are able to situate that plant in the right place with the right environment around it, you will need to maintain it much less than if you chose a plant and put it in the wrong location, which will, definitely require to have more fertilizer, more water, more care. So making life easier is my motto. So definitely choose the right plant for the right location.
Perfect. Okay, next question is from Jane on Instagram, and she asked, what is the best place to plant an avocado tree?
So avocados are subtropical, tropical plants. They like to be in full sun. They need to be in full sun to flower and fruit, which means about 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. In the northern hemisphere in which we are located, the southern part of the property, or wherever you face south, is the best place to plant a tree such as that, whether it be in a container or in the ground. Uh, Avocado trees don't really need that much care once they've established, but they are sensitive to wind. And so I would recommend that you plant it at least 20 to 30 feet away from any structure in case a branch falls and damages some of your property. Um, Also, it doesn't really need to be fertilized that often, once a year perhaps. But basically, avocado trees can be left to themselves once they're established.
Got it. Okay. Next question comes from Terry Castellano on Instagram. She's actually one of our board members, and she's awesome. So her question is, what is the best time of day to water plants?
Hi, Terry. Come and volunteer again. Uh, the best time to really water a plant is early in the morning or late in the evening, just before the sun sets. I personally prefer early morning watering. This way, the plants are able to absorb all the water they need for the day. They, to prevent them from wilting later on in the day, which is not good for them. It also helps, the environment to dry out a bit during the day so that you don't have problems with fungus and bacteria growing in wet situations, which could happen overnight if you watered overnight. So really the best time is early in the morning.
Okay, great. We're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to ask a question from what I consider to be one of our Facebook superfans. This is Mark Anthony Ronco. He's super active with us on the platform, so trying to give him some love here. He asked about the theater garden. There is a mask in that space that he thinks might be a fountain. Is that
Okay.
true?
That's a question we've had before. And the actual answer is no, it wasn't a fountain. But you are right. The mask could possibly have been a part of a wall fountain that Deering and Chalfin may have bought as a piece and used it to adorn the theater garden. The water line that you see in the theater garden below that mask is actually due to flooding that occurs there more often these days because of sea level rise uh, and rains that don't drain away. So I did stick my finger into the mouth there, and there is a hole. So, yep, you were right. It's probably a fountainhead, but not that's not what it was used for there.
Okay, got it. So next question from Instagram. This comes from Vane. I think I'm saying that okay. What are some plants that can survive the heat and sun in Miami?
So a very useful guide for Miami is to look up the USDA zone. So we are in zone 10B, but again with climate change, our temperatures are getting warmer. So we could also be in sort of 11, 11A. So any plants that survive in a 10B, 11, 11A zone would be fine. Having said that, we are of course subtropical. So anything that grows in the subtropics is, fair game here. Do be careful though that any plants that you buy or bring in from anywhere else are not listed as invasive. All this information is available at either the USDA site or the University of Florida site, or of course you can always ask us, and we'd be more than glad to research and find out what could be good for you.
Okay, perfect. Rosa Castro from Facebook asked about our parterres. She called them mazes, but given the picture she commented on, I think she's talking about the parterres. And she's asking if they are in a place where they were originally or historically planted, and have they changed over time?
So yes, so with any hedge, what happens is they tend to drift over time. So or even a patch of grass, for example. So what you see today at Vizcaya are the original footprints of where the parterres were, but the inside intricate designs are not the same. The only parterres that are true to the original are the first three in front, just below the South Terrace steps, which we had the opportunity to redo following a Hurricane Irma, where the parterres were completely destroyed in front. So we ripped them all out and took that opportunity to translate original drawings into what was here in Deering's time. So eventually, the back parterres will be redone when we do the master plan of the garden. But for now, they have the original footprint, but not the original intricate designs inside.
Thank you. We also do have a video that David did maybe a year ago that covers this topic a little bit more thoroughly. So we will go ahead and link that video in the comments when we're done with the live stream. Another Facebook question from another super fan, Fernando Iglesias. He asks, in Vizcaya's early days, they tried to cultivate plants that didn't work in the area. How did they conquer that challenge? Was it through expertise or through trial and error?
Uh, they actually used plants. They consulted with David Fairchild originally. Most of the gardens, though, had a very limited palette of plants. They had palms that they brought in from Cuba and from other places, from nurseries in Homestead at the time. They had oak trees which grew here. They also transplanted oak trees onto the property from parts of Miami-Dade which were being developed, and the trees were being destroyed. So they saved a lot of these trees and brought them on. Here, most of them are on the mound right now. They use casuarina pine, though it's not a pine, for the hedges. Again, that was brought in to sort of drain the swamps around, and that are still, those plants are still here today. A lot of them are 100 years old or more, and we still have those. Uh, and other hedges that they used was ficus and podocarpus. Again, mostly all green stuff. So they did try that, and those things worked. So they kept them. They also grew flowers over the winter, really, for when James Deering lived here, stayed here over the winter. And of course, those flowers were grown in fields in Alapata and then also on the west side in the village. But basically, yes, they were experimenters and they tried different things. There wasn't a huge palette of plants. We have many more plants species here than they did in Deering's time, including a lot of flowers which were largely absent in the gardens at that time.
Perfect. So we are going to get ready to start wrapping this up a little bit. We do open at 9:30, so David has to prepare the gardens for visitors and such. So we're going to answer some of the questions that we have received live. Charlotte Dawn on Facebook asked about her roses. She has a rose bush that has not bloomed in several years and is asking what the best light and water is for roses in Miami.
Roses in Miami need. So we've just started our rose garden. We just had our first anniversary, and we are really very proud of our achievements in growing roses here. Our main focus here and a main learning is that roses do need about 8 hours of sunlight every day. They need minimal watering from above, though they do need watering on the surface. So try not to wet the leaves because you will have problems with fungus, which then affect the flower and the quality of the flower that you get eventually. And you do have to have a very thorough fertilizing program. Uh, the fertilizing program is almost a weekly thing that we do. And you also need to mulch your rose beds with pine bark. So those are our major learnings.
Okay, great. Another question from Facebook. Michelle Hyman asked about care tips for palm trees. Any specific care tips for palm trees?
Not really. Palm trees tend to look after themselves. If you do find there's some sort of yellowing of the leaves, it's usually a water issue. You probably need to water it a bit more. Sometimes again, you'll find there are very specific problems that happen, and there are specific cures for that. There are lists again at the University of Florida IFAS sites that you can look up for particular palm problems. But usually, if you would like to fertilize your palms, you can buy a regular palm fertilizer or just a fertilizer that has a 666 or a 10-10-10 on the bag, which indicates the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that's in it, and just sprinkle it on, usually in the spring, and that's it really. Just water it in, and that's it for now. Palms really don't need that much TLC here.
Perfect. And our last Facebook question from Jenny's son, she asks, what are some fragrant flowering vines or trees that can grow in Key West?
Fragrant flowering vines and trees that can grow in Key West. I would have to look that up. That's Zone
Okay.
11A. Well, there's always a jasmine that does well. But there are others like Pitrea, the Queen's Wreath, that would do well there. That's a vine. But there is a whole list of things that we can post on our website for you to look up.
Okay.
I can make a note of that.
Perfect, perfect. So before we go, we did want to let everybody know of things that are coming up at Vizcaya. So if you love the gardens enough to be here with us live in the morning talking about gardens, we have a greenhouse experience where you can go inside of our orchid greenhouse with horticulture staff like David, live at the estate and in person. And it's happening today as well as next Friday. So you can go on our website here at vizcaya.org/events to learn more about that. And we also have a virtual flower arrangements class that David teaches coming up next Saturday. So thank you guys again for being with us, and I'll let David say bye as well.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today with us. It was great fun. We have a few little homeworks to do, and we'll post some of this information for you online.
Absolutely. And we should be back next Friday as well, maybe not with David, but with somebody else from horticulture. So if you have any other garden questions that you would like to ask, feel free to leave them in the comments and we will address them next week. Thank you all for being with us and have a great one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.